Good morning, everyone. Thank you for venturing out early, traveling from far and wide or not so far to be with us this morning. We are very happy to see such a large crowd in attendance at the very beginning of the day. I'd like to welcome all of you on behalf of Freed Frank and on behalf of the Center for Migration Studies to our program today. I want to introduce myself first. I'm Karen Grisez. I'm a full-time public service counsel in this law firm, Freed Frank, Harris, Shriver, and Jacobson, but I come from the Washington, D.C. office. And I'm very grateful that my colleagues here were able to host us for the day and give us the opportunity to welcome all of our friends, guests, and supporters. The second part of my welcome, of course, is on behalf of CMS. That's what brings us all together, and I think it promises to be a wonderful day, notwithstanding the lack of bright sunshine. Many of you may have been with us last year, but for those of you who weren't, I want to take the opportunity to say that this is our second event of this kind, an academic symposium running day-long to address the important, timely, topical issues on which CMS and its journals is working, and then followed in the evening by a gala to celebrate our friends, supporters, and those who have done wonderful service in the immigration and migration community. And I know some of our honorees are with us already this morning. I welcome all of them and all of you to come together for this day of study, learning, and a chance to socialize with each other later in the evening. So it's my pleasure, as well as my task, to kick off the day by introducing those of you who are not already familiar with our lead speaker, to Bishop DiMarzio. Bishop Nicholas DiMarzio was installed as the 7th Bishop of Brooklyn, encompassing the boroughs of Brooklyn and Queens on October 3rd, 2003. Prior to that assignment, he served as the Bishop of Camden, Diocese of Camden, New Jersey, from July '99 to October 2003. Bishop DiMarzio has long been a national leader in the defense of migrants and newcomers. He's a member of the Vatican's Pontifical Council for the Pastoral Care of Migrants and Itinerant People. In addition, he served as chair of the Migration Committee of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, chairman and founder of the board of the Catholic Legal Immigration Network Clinic, and as the U.S. representative to the Global Commission on International Migration, which, as you know, is a UN-sponsored commission. Bishop DiMarzio has also served on the boards of the International Catholic Migration Commission and the National Immigration, Refugee, and Citizenship Forum. I'll take a deep breath and I'm almost done. He chairs the board of the Migration Policy Institute in Washington, D.C. as well. And in addition to these many numerous leadership positions that he's held, Bishop DiMarzio has also published numerous papers and speeches and testified before Congress on migration issues on many, many occasions. Now, for the important part for our purposes today, Bishop DiMarzio is chair of the board of CMS. He's been associated with CMS for I don't know how long, Bishop, maybe you can remind us, decades. I heard a rumor that it may be as many as 40 years, but suffice it to say that over those years he's made innumerable contributions to the, I tried to make a list, governance, stability, programming, vision of this organization, and has really in recent years led us into an entirely new era, culminating, I think, by the vision he's shown in bringing on Don Kerwin to serve as our executive director. And I think the work that you'll see reflected in today's programming, in the scholarly work in the room, and in tonight's event will really reflect the wisdom and the vision exemplified by that decision. So I'm going to say thanks to Don and the staff for pulling it all together, and welcome Bishop DiMarzio to start us off.
Karen, thank you. On behalf of the Center for Migration Studies, we want to thank the law firm of Freed and Frank for hosting us again. We had a wonderful event last year, just worked out. The gala location is in walking distance, so we found the right venue. Last year, it was the event of the 50th anniversary of the edition of the International Migration Review, which is our signature publication. The event again, so well received, we're trying to repeat it, and we have honorees that helped with the financial issues of CMS. But also, we're proud that in the last several years, we've launched a new journal, online journal, which we do publish once a year in paper, the Journal on Migration and Human Security, which also gives some public policy interest to those who are here. If you want to, there's a copy there, I think, for those who participate. So we had to cut off registration today. We only have a certain amount of seats. As you see, we're almost filled, and I'm sure they'll be filled by the end of the morning. This morning's agenda does feature a series of panels and speakers, and the intersection of migration and development, which is so important. There has been a long history with the issue of development and migration. As a member of the Catholic Relief Services Board, I recognized how when as a development agency of the Catholic Church, we saw that many of the issues that we dealt with were at the heart, migration issues. And development, again, long-term effects does affect migration. Not initially, but eventually. It can keep people at home, which has always been the teaching of the Church. It's better to stay at home than to go abroad. It's better to stay in your land of your birth if possible. But when that's not possible, then we've always recommended to nations that they open their doors to those especially fleeing persecution and those in economic need. Doug Gorak also serves in the capacity of IMR's editor. He's here today. He will be one of our first speakers, and also Professor Mark Miller, Professor Hein de Haas are prominent scholars and IMR authors, and Mark was also the editor for many years. So after their talks, we're going to take up the issue of birth registration, which is a fundamental need and prerequisite for human development. Without having your land of birth, it is so difficult to deal with the issues of life. Our two speakers on this topic will be Karen Mercado of the B Foundation, and also who has done groundbreaking work in Mexico, and Claudia Capa from the UNICEF was also expert on this issue globally. Over the last 2 years, we have witnessed a large-scale migration of unaccompanied youth and families with young people from the Northern Triangle and the states of Central America. We know that the best solution for most of these children and families would be to create conditions that will allow them to stay in their home countries. And we're grateful today to have Juan Ricardo Ortega from the Inter-American Development Bank, who will discuss the plan of the Alliance for Prosperity in the Northern Triangle. This document is a roadmap developed by Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador with the Inter-American Development Bank on how to promote economic development and the rule of law in these nations. And after his talk, we'll take our lunch break. In the afternoon, we will return to the issue of refugee protection. On our first panel, we will hear CMS's Director, John Curran, who will moderate and cover the access to protection and durable solutions for refugees and refugee-like populations. We're fortunate to have on our panel this afternoon Alex Alenikov, the former UN Deputy High Director for Refugees, Bill Canny, the Executive Director of the United States Bishops' Department of Migration and Refugee Services, and Tara Magner, an expert in these issues who will be speaking in her individual capacity. Next, there will be a keynote by David Martin on international law and some of the barriers to strong refugee protection policies. I should add that David, Karen, Mercado, and Mark Miller are three of those who will be our honorees this evening. David's talk will be followed by a panel by Michelle Pistone of Villanova University School of Law, who with her husband Jack Hefner co-edits the CMS Journal on Migration and Human Security. This panel will cover asylum and temporary protection issues, also a group of superb speakers. There will be Kevin Appleby, the Director of Migration Policy and Public Affairs for USCCB, MRS, He will be joining us, and also the Scalabrini International Network. Also Karen Grisez, an expert on these issues, and Lisa Friedman of Kids in Need of Defense will be with us. If you're not tired yet, we're almost finished. Before I hand this over to Professor Burak, I wanted to thank all of you for being with us today. We recognize the particular mission of CMS. We have worked in the policy area for many years by producing the IMR, the signature work of our institution. Also recognize that as, if not the premier journal on migration studies, we must contribute to the knowledge base, because without knowledge we can never make good decisions. We can never form good policies, and that's what our work is about. We thank you for being with us today. I know your presence will contribute to our knowledge base. Thank you.